Well, good morning. Welcome to another quick response video. This is just a little short here by little Petey Rogers. Remember Petey? Petey had an opportunity to prove Bart Kay 100% wrong in a debate not that long ago. He had 90 minutes or more of an opportunity to prove Bart Kay absolutely wrong in a debate about all sorts of topics. How did that go for you, Pete? Oh, that's right. You got absolutely slammed. You had your ass handed to you on every single point because, as usual, the thing that underpins Pete Rogers is theology and opinion rather than science. Anyway, let's go through Pete's little short here and see what he's got to say and put it right where it's erroneous. It means wrong, Pete. I know it's a big word, but there you go. Fuck's sake. Get rid of that. All right.
Okay, Bart says, go by the science. Well,
yes.
Well, the science supports a plant-based diet.
No, it doesn't, Peter. Still. Absolutely does not. False.
It's obvious.
No, it isn't, Pete. It's wrong. It's stupid. It's ignorant in the extreme. It's false, dangerous, contraindicated disinformation for a person such as yourself who has, by the way, absolutely no training whatever in human nutrition, none at all, to be speaking about this topic. Your opinion has no bearing on the reality of the situation, the objective reality in which we still find ourselves, Pete, which is still that you had every opportunity to prove me 100% wrong, and you failed completely, didn't you? You got absolutely pistol whipped in a debate against me not that long ago. Clearly, your little anal sphincter is still hurting.
Yes, it's overwhelming.
Overwhelming is not a word a scientist uses to describe inference. They also don't use the word evidence, they use the word inference. So anyone that says evidence or overwhelming, you can dismiss that person immediately as being someone who knows anything whatever about science, which is not surprising for this man because his training is not in science, not at all.
I'm going to show you a bunch of papers real quick.
Well, he's actually not going to show a bunch of papers real quick because this is a short and it gets cut off before any of that happens. But actually, also, a scientist doesn't show a bunch of papers real quick. That's not what a scientist does. A scientist slowly, carefully, and systematically goes through one paper at a time in great detail so that their viewership can see what's wrong with that paper. So even in the full version of this video, Pete isn't even doing that. What he's doing is splashing up the title of some papers which may appear to support his theology because, well, science has become one of the most ill-disciplined areas of nonsense out there. But there is actually no science whatsoever to support any of the claims he's making here. None at all.
Quick here, but it's overwhelming.
Again, saying something twice, which was wrong the first time, doesn't make it any less wrong the second time. Still wrong, Peter. No.
It's not like it's a close thing. It's not like
it's close, not closed. That is for those that are just reading the subtitles there.
5-4. It's more like 100-0.
It's nothing of the sort. That's an arbitrary number or a set of arbitrary numbers that little Petey Rogers has just pulled out of his very, very sore anal orifice. Science doesn't keep the score. Neither does science have an opinion, by the way, Peter. Okay? Science is a discipline. It's an epistemological system which needs to be used in a disciplined way for it to be valid. And unfortunately, theological buffoons like yourself, Peter, are completely incapable of so doing.
Oh, okay. Okay, now here's some things that Bart Kay says.
Yes. Notice how he's not provided any proof of anything here. He's just given an opinion, a vacuous, mindless, ignorant, stupid opinion.
I just want you to know what this guy says.
Well, if people want to know what I say, Peter, they should come and listen to me say it. Surely.
He says diabetes is due to elevated blood glucose.
No. False. That is a lie, Peter. I do not say diabetes is due to elevated blood glucose. I say diabetes is elevated blood glucose. See how that's quite different? It's not due to the glucose. That's what it is. By definition, by measurement, and when there is intervention to attempt to treat diabetes, that's what's being intervened, the blood glucose level. Okay? So this buffoon, this absolute ignoramus, has absolutely not a single fucking leg to stand on and no idea of how to even construct an argument. Ergo, he has to go to misquotation and misdirect. It really does not reflect well on you, Peter, or your family, or your tribe, or your country. You should probably do all of those a favor and shut your ignorant mouth. Okay? What you should have done is realized as soon as you got that spanking from me not that long ago that you were out of your depth with me, and instead of putting up this cope video, what you should have done is apologize to your viewership for your vast ignorance, your unbelievable arrogance, and your erroneous, dangerous, contraindicated advice to people. But instead, we get this cope video. It really is very sad.
But that's actually not correct.
Yes, well, what I just said about what diabetes is, elevated blood glucose chronically, is correct. That is what it is.
Elevated blood glucose is a symptom of insulin resistance.
False again, Peter. Insulin resistance is a construct. There are no companies out there that sell meters that you can go and measure insulin resistance with. It's not a physiological response. It's a construct. The things that you can measure with actual meters that actual companies manufacture are things like blood glucose responses and insulin responses to various, for example, oral glucose challenges. Having done that, having measured someone's oral glucose responses or their insulin responses over time in response to some kind of challenge, that gives you some information. But it does not give you a cause and effect output. It shows you what's associated with what.
Okay, and insulin resistance is primarily caused by excessive dietary fat.
Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Complete garbage. Not a single thing to recommend that statement as being remotely correct in any way, shape, or form. False. The thing that Peter is referring to as insulin resistance is generally an effect notable on the clearance of blood glucose from the blood being slowed, despite there being insulin being released, precisely because that's the body working exactly as it should, doing exactly what it should to protect the cells from the damage those cells would experience were they exposed to a vast overplus of unnecessary, contraindicated, toxic carbohydrates in the diet. Yes, eating a lot of fat and running primarily on fat absolutely can slow glucose clearance precisely because that system, parsimoniously referred to by many as the Randall cycle, absolutely dictates that that should be so. Because that system has evolved to protect those cells, which are quite replete with energetic substrate in the form of fat, ergo no sugar is required, ergo it's locked out. As it should be. Still, what's next?
Especially saturated fat.
Nonsense. Absolute garbage. Notice how Peter provided absolutely no evidence to support his claims there whatsoever. I know this is just a short. Nonetheless, there is nothing extant that supports Peter in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. Bart Kay says the best diet is 100% animal foods with zero carbohydrates.
No. Animal foods contain some carbohydrates, Peter, you absolute ignoramus. You stupid boy. You mindless buffoon. Once again, a misquotation. Adding things I have not said.
I've even seen him say carbohydrates are a poison.
Well, everything can be a poison, Peter, if the dose is correct to make it poisonous or toxic. Have you never heard that? The dose makes the poison or the toxin? Water can be toxic in a high amount, as can oxygen, Peter. Carbohydrates absolutely, demonstrably cause toxic effects above requirement in a human body. That is a fact. That is not even a fact that anybody is seriously debating. Why do you think we have measurements for glycative damage of our red blood cells? Peter? Why do you think we're doing that? Because carbohydrates above requirement, son, are fucking toxic. Okay? Idiot.
Okay, that's the opposite of the truth.
No, it isn't, Peter. Still, the opposite of the truth is that anyone should, without any qualifications whatsoever, or any experience in research and the development of knowledge whatsoever, that person should come online and make authoritative statements about human nutrition, Peter. That's what you're doing. You have no training whatsoever in this field. You have no peer-reviewed publications of your own in this field. You have no idea how to competently read science whatsoever. You are a theologian who has been sucked into a ridiculous, nonsensical, destitute dietary paradigm, that of veganism, and it's written all over you, son. And now what you want to do is straw man, misrepresent, and outright lie about what actually competent individuals with the actual background to be authoritative in this field, such as myself, actually have to say. It's disgraceful, and it only reflects badly on you, sunshine. What's next?
The best diet for human health based on tons and tons of studies.
No, there is no studies that can support whatever claim you're going to make, whatever diet you're going to say next. There are no studies to support the claim that you're about to make. Wrong, Peter. This is what I'm talking about with your absolute destitution of competence to speak on the matter of human nutrition. You are not qualified, son. Shut the fuck up.
And epidemiological evidence is...
Epidemiological evidence is an oxymoron, you clown. You absolute buffoon. Epidemiological evidence. Did you hear that, boys and girls? Peter Rogers just said epidemiological evidence. Using those two words together, wow, what a clown.
As well as low-fat, low-sodium vegan diet.
Rubbish. That's your opinion, Peter, and it's vacuous. Shut up, ducks. Thank you.
And in the modern world, preferably 100% vegan.
Rubbish. Absolute nonsense.
Because we have to detoxify from our previous experience.
A vegan diet's going to detoxify you, is it, Peter? No, son. No.
Bad diet. Okay.
Right, so there you go. That was Peter's little short where he provided no evidence whatsoever for anything at all. Neither did he provide any evidence for anything in the full version of this video, actually, at all. Just a cope video where he has to straw man, misrepresent and lie about what I've had to say to try and make himself better about the fact that he absolutely had his ass handed to him recently-ish. It's sad. It's pathetic. Look at the state of people who are pushing this barrow out there. We've got eyes, mate. We can see how wraith-like you all are. How absolutely screaming out for nutrient your bodies are. How your brains are completely unable to function. Have a look at a discussion that I had with so-called Nutrition by so-called Victoria yesterday my time, where for 2.5 hours, this ridiculous bimbo spouted nothing but fallacies, rudely interrupted when I gave her the respect of listening to her entire opening gambit without interrupting her at all, despite the fact that it was utter garbage. And then the moment I started to speak, she started to rudely speak over the top of me. Of course, the gloves came off immediately, and then she got 2.5 hours of an absolute pounding. Quite rightly. Anytime, Peter, you'd like to come back to the ring and have another crack at me, why don't you just send me an email, son, and we'll make that happen. Instead of sitting there and lying about what I've had to say, come and actually talk to me about what I've got to say, and everyone will see just how absolutely destitute of competence you are. You ridiculous charlatan. Here we go, boys and girls. Join me next time when someone else will be wrong on the interwebs, because it doesn't look like slowing down anytime soon, does it? No. See you then.